First off, what is AccuVent, Jake?
So an AccuVent is actually a device that is plugged into the monitor itself that will actually give you a reading of tidal volume and actually give you appropriate rates as you're doing airway management for a patient. You're getting a true dosing, which is fantastic.
Accurate ventilations.
AccuVent. What we were doing before, it was 100% a guess.
Yes.
You were hoping, and we all know in cardiac arrest or even the standard true medical call we're having to assist.
Chest rise.
Are we really paying attention?
No.
Well.
No.
The standard individual's not.
No.
So when we look at that, it takes the guess away. We're giving a true dose. How fantastic is that?
So we're going to show you guys how to do this. Realize if you're using your AccuVent, it's going to be in that pouch, so that way it doesn't get caught up in your defib pads. So you're literally going to take it out and you're going to plug it in. And when I plug it in, Jake, the only other piece I have to have is what?
You have to actually have the AccuVent little adapter is what I'm going to call it. That'll plug into your BVM and whatever airway device you're deciding to use. It's blue. It matches the actual connection for the monitor. If I can open it. The very next step, it actually clips in. When it clips in, it will light up.
Do you see the light? The key is the light. If it doesn't light up, there's no light, it'll actually be saying, hey, it's not reading. It's click it in to see a light.
So now, we will plug it in with our BVM. We already have an airway placed. The very next thing we're going to do is actually complete a ventilation, right? So we're going to squeeze the bag. When we squeeze the bag, if you look at the screen itself, you will now see we have a new option. Again, we get our dosing. You see BVM right below it has VT. That's your actual tidal volume. If you keep on going to the center where the actual circle is, once I breathe, that's going to give you a countdown to get a breath per minute. And if you go to the very far side of that, that's our rate. We can adjust that. So when I breathe, you're going to see all the settings that are defaulted. You could tell it stayed yellow. I'll get into the green in just a second why it's important. It wasn't an adequate tidal volume. So I'm going to breathe again. Yellow, not good. You want it to turn green. So when it gets down to 1, this is our indication to breathe. Green is what we want. Breathe for green. That's what we want.
This makes it simple that when you're breathing, you're giving the patient the appropriate amount of tidal volume over the appropriate amount of seconds at the appropriate amount of rate. It's no longer us guesstimating, taking 1,800 tidal volume and squeezing it in there based on dead space and everything.
It takes practice.
It takes a lot of practice. And I know you're having trouble seeing the monitor. I'm going to turn it your way. And then actually, on our last arrest, believe it or not, we had a very big obese patient, and we were doing the same thing. Our tidal volume was 386. And T-Roy was so proud of himself, he was going, making sure it was green, and he was literally ventilating the patient, I think, a total of 6 times a minute. And we actually were on that return of spontaneous circulation, had a great pulse ox, a great end tidal, everything.
It's something so simple too, David. Like when you look at the grand scheme of things and how chaotic a call can be, we want simple. We want something that's not complicated. We want something we could turn over to somebody and say, hey, you see that screen? This is the tidal volume we want. It's going to give you a countdown. When it gets to 0, you breathe. You want to make it green. It makes it so simple for you. You can see right now it takes practice. I think I've gotten more yellow than I have green at the moment. But it takes you being cognizant of what you're doing, paying attention, and adjusting. Yellow again. Now, can we manipulate the rate?
Yes, we can. If we needed to, we can actually go over here and we would highlight what we needed to manipulate. So let's say we may manipulate that rate. We could actually come over here and change that rate. If we're doing CPR, we can actually do 30 to 2.
And the odds of you manipulating that, probably slim.
Slim, but let's say I wanted to. Let's say we were having issues because this patient actually has, I don't know, COPD, we need high PEEP on them or something. We could actually go over here and say, no, this is what I want the tidal volume to be, if we needed the tidal volume to be greater. These rates are usually set up on the parameters that Dr. Nix and Zoll talked about. So the goal here, though, is do your best, and it's based off of the AccuVent is actually based off of different types of pressures, endotracheal tube, the lungs, that kind of stiff. It takes in place that dead space and comes up with an accurate tidal volume that should be manipulated. Like I said, I've had a little grandma where it was almost 600 tidal volume she needed. And then I just had that obese patient where it was less than 400 they needed. So it's truly amazing, the technology.